in the world we live in right now, before Bitcoin, you can have $1 million in your bank account, but it's credit. It's the bank says you have it and the bank can take it away from you. You can only move it pursuant to their permission to move it. And right now the bank doesn't give you an API to move money.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into the future of crypto and Bitcoin, to be more exact. Michael Saylor, co-founder of MicroStrategy, will explain why Bitcoin can be worth up to $10 million per coin, while also explaining why Bitcoin is still pretty stable despite the recent downswings. Currently, Bitcoin is trading in between the 20K range. However, if Michael Saylor's prediction is right, Bitcoin reaching $10 million would pump the price more than 60,000%. Of course, this number is a wild guess, but given the fact that Bitcoin is only trading in thousands of dollars, this would be a pretty good investment. Now let's look what Michael Saylor has to say about the future of Bitcoin. Before we start, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. Now let's see what Saylor has to say.
When you think of it as digital gold, then it should replace gold. Gold's worth $10 trillion, and that takes Bitcoin to 500,000. But when you think of it as digital property, like replacing buildings and land and other long storeholds of wealth, then, you're up by a factor of 20 or 30 from there. I mean, it should not be, it's much better than digital gold because I can move Bitcoin at the speed of light and I can program it to 1 million transactions an hour on an iPhone or a website. You can't do that with gold. So it's got more utility than gold, which means it's probably worth 20 or 30 trillion if it just replaces the gold. But instead of buying the Fontainebleau Hotel, which is a nice hotel, worth whatever billions in Miami Beach, instead of buying that, instead of buying the equivalent amount of Bitcoin, if you bought the Bitcoin, you can move that to any city in the world every hour of the day, compose it, decompose it, recompose it, dematerialize it, and when there's a nasty tax on it, you can just move yourself to a different jurisdiction where there's a better tax treatment. And if you think of it like that, then it's a multi-$100 trillion asset class. So at 10 trillion, it's 500,000. At 100 trillion, it's 5 million. So I think, we're marching toward $10 trillion, which is, $10 million a coin, which is why Bitcoin enthusiasts see it's just a very great long-term store of value. And it's a great investment idea because it meets the needs of 8 billion people. The average person, the middle-class person that drives an Uber or works as a dentist, they can't buy $387 worth of a building in New York City every month is their savings plan, right? And a person in Africa can't buy a small share of a nice piece of property. They can't buy $127 worth of a Picasso painting. So Bitcoin offers property rights at any scale, any amount of money, anybody in the world. And you don't have to worry about, will people like Picassos? Will they still want buildings in Vegas or New York? Will some politician tax it away from me? Well, can I take it through an airport? So if you're looking for an egalitarian, utilitarian way for people to save money and protect their life force or protect their economic wealth for the next 100 years, and you are looking for something that's kind of consistent with the mobile wave, Android phones, iPhones, websites, that's truly global, it's more appealing to people in Nigeria and Argentina than it is appealing to people in Manhattan.
I'm gonna get there, right? Because it really is part of creating a world of abundance. It is critically important as a means for that. Michael, I wake up every morning with you and your tweets. I enjoy your tweets. It's definitely good. I love this one from a little bit ago, and it was important and prophetic. You said, "I thought it was late." You said, "I thought I was late to Bitcoin, but apparently not."
Yeah.
And that's one of the important things that I think people need to get. It's not too late to Bitcoin, especially if we have the potential to hit 500,000, 5 million, $10 million of Bitcoin. It's still early in the deceptive phase of its growth.
I thought when Google came public, I was too late. But if
Yeah.
if you look at the really great successes of our lifetime, Peter, the digital monopolies, the Apple, the Google, the YouTube, the Facebook, these things.
The MicroStrategy.
We thought that we were late to them, but the truth is Google would have been a good idea to invest in, all the way up to like a few months ago.
Yeah, no, I was.
It's still getting more powerful, and you think you've fully embraced Google in the year 2018, but Google was going to get more powerful and surge. And if you thought you understood it in 2020, by 2021 it was more powerful. And the same is true with Apple. And these Apple and Google, probably more powerful than most nation states. Same with Microsoft. We thought Microsoft, we understood that one, and Microsoft got more powerful in the past 24 months.
If we are talking about the predictions, it is only fair to also include the risks of an asset. In this case, Michael Saylor points out that Bitcoin is fairly safe, and compared to 2012, today Bitcoin has proven its worth and need for the world. In Saylor's recent tweet, you can clearly see the value of Bitcoin compared to traditional assets in terms of profit it generated since August 2020. Now let's dive deeper to what Saylor has to say.
I think that it's pretty stable at this point. I think that the great risk came in the first few years.
Yeah.
It's just like, again, coming back to the metaphor of a fire. If you start a fire, right, and you can put the fire out in the first few minutes, but at some point when the fire is taken over the entire warehouse or it's broken out into the entire forest, you can't put the fire out. So I think at this point it's beyond that event horizon. But certainly back in 2012, 2011, 2013, there are a lot of questions like, would it be deemed property by the IRS?
Sure.
Would it be banned or outlawed? Online gambling got banned and they just shut it down dead on arrival. So there are a lot of things that do get squelched.
Mm-hmm.
This had to get to a sufficiently decentralized, diffuse point where no one regulator or no one nation state would think they could stop it. And I think we're clearly there now. You can see that now with the utterances coming out of the White House, the Secretary of the Treasury, and the head of the SEC and the head of the CFTC. But you couldn't have been sure about that in 2012. Einstein tells us matter is energy and energy is matter. And if you look at the advances of the human civilization, many people don't think in terms of energy, but if you thought about it, you'd realize that steel is highly concentrated metallic energy. And the reason that you can build a 100-story skyscraper is because you put so much energy into a material that it could withstand the force of gravity up to 100 stories. And so because you have steel, you can build a bridge, you can build a skyscraper, it'll last 100 years. So that concentrated energy allowed your aspirations to become expansive in time and space, right? That's why we have the Bronze Age giving way to the Steel Age, right? Oil is concentrated liquid energy, right? And John D. Rockefeller kind of gave us standardized liquid energy. Standard oil was a pretty big deal. And if you consider trying to cross the Atlantic with wind energy instead of with oil, you could see that it really did catapult the civilization forward. Bitcoin represents digital energy. And in that way, if you think hard about it, you realize it represents digital matter too. It's the first time, it's the singularity whereby we open this portal and energy can flow into the digital realm.
Okay.
When Satoshi invented a way to transfer value from me to you without a trusted intermediary, I can send you $1 million, no bank involved. Okay, the critical thing was solving what they call the double spend problem. But the double spend problem means I send you the $1 million, I don't have it, you have it. Okay, that's a very lowbrow colloquialism, right? In engineering at MIT, we would refer to that as respecting the laws of conservation of energy.
Sure.
It's like I move 100 kilograms from me to you, right? It can't be in both places at the same time. I converted matter into energy, energy into matter, right? I can have one or the other, but energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only change forms. It can vibrate, right? Nikola Tesla said, you understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So this is a big eye opener, because what you see is that everything in the digital realm before Bitcoin was non-conservative. It was digital information. I send you Beethoven's Fifth Symphony as an MP3 file. You've got it, I've still got it. And it can be redistributed 18 billion times.
Sure.
So you don't own it, you just have a copy. So all of those businesses, Facebook, Google, Apple, they're all based upon digital information revolution, first on the web and then on a mobile phone. And Bitcoin's big innovation was, we don't just move digital information anymore, we move digital energy. It's a conservative property. And if I can move $1 million of energy from me to you, I can move $1 billion of energy from me to you. But if I can move it from me to you, if I can move it over 10,000 miles, I can move it over 10,000 days. I can move $1 billion from here into the future 30 years. And so that's a second breakthrough. And then the third breakthrough is, if I can move energy through time and space, I can manifest energy in cyberspace, right? The big breakthrough is the creation of $1 billion of something in cyberspace. There's a phrase, JP Morgan had a phrase. He said, gold is money, everything else is credit. And what that means is, you have a bar of gold, that is money, that is valuable. Everything else, a piece of paper, which just is a derivative of, or is a security that represents someone else's gold. So you want the money, you don't want the credit. Now, in the world we live in right now, before Bitcoin, you can have $1 million in your bank account, but it's credit. It's the bank says you have it, and the bank can take it away from you.
Yes.
And you can only move it pursuant to their permission to move it. And right now, the bank doesn't give you an API to move money. There's no, you could have $1 billion and 10,000 programmers. You can't create a program that'll pay 19, $22 transactions between here and Africa on a Saturday afternoon.
And that's all for today. Thanks for watching the video. We always appreciate your opinion on these topics, so write in the comments down below what you think will be the price wall in the future for Bitcoin. Will it reach its new highs, or will it drop even more? Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content. This was Investalence, and we'll see you in another video.